and Megan is not intervening. Juniper's up there doing her thing. Megan is kind of hanging a little bit back, just monitoring everything. Howdy folks, Reagan, Megan, and Goats with the GWP Homestead. I think Juniper is going to have a baby tonight. At least, that's our belief. She's getting really close. She's maybe a couple days early at this point, but it's really cold tonight. We're expecting I think the coldest night of the year so far. So, I don't know. It just seems to be, when that happens, things happen. So we're getting things buttoned up there in the house, getting ready to settle in for the night, and we're thinking we're going to go down and check on her just because, you know, when we put her up tonight, she wasn't hitting the hay quite as hard as she was, or has been the past couple nights, week or so.
So I came down here and I noticed that she's eating still. She's eating right now, but you can tell she's uncomfortable. She's got a flippy tail, which is a sign that her ligaments are gone in her tail. And then when I finally get a good look at her butt, she's got discharge, and a lot of discharge. Because I thought she had discharge the other day, and it wasn't. It was just where she had used the bathroom and it was still damp. But this is discharge. This is slimy, mucousy discharge. It's freezing. I've had 2.5 hours of sleep. So it's baby goat time. When her mom was the first freshener, I know the first possible day that she was due because we literally brought the buck home that she got bred that night. And she kidded 2 days early. So I'm watching her like a hawk now. And after having a goat that prolapsed, I'm a little paranoid.
Once upon a time, this goat wasn't very friendly. Oh, how things change.
If you're like us and you don't have Wi-Fi, so you can't get like the fancy cameras like Nest or something like that for your barn, this little baby monitor has worked really well for us. I didn't catch, like, I was never caught birth on it, like, so I knew to come out here, but I was able to monitor all the babies in the stall all night, so I knew what was kind of going on with them. We'll leave a link to it in the description.
Now that the heat lamp is set up and the baby monitor is adjusted and the dog is barking like crazy and the goat is eating, like, we get to see if she's going to make a liar of us, but we're ready to go, and maybe we'll have babies. That baby monitor does have sound on it. If Juniper starts yelling in the middle of the night, she's having babies, we're going to hear it, she's going to hear it, she's going to come down, I'm going to come down, because that's what we do. And, yeah, I don't know. Fingers crossed. Hope all goes well.
Not you, Oscar. You're staying here.
Well, she made a liar out of us. Shock. So it wasn't long. Oh, there she goes. It wasn't long after we walked out of here last night, or I guess before we walked out, she started eating again. And her eating was the number one thing we thought was the sign she was going to have babies, like the number one thing. When she started eating again, we were skeptical that it was actually going to happen. And turns out we were right, but that's okay. She's still doing just fine, aren't you, Junie? It does look like she's ready. She's going to stay here in the barn with her brother. And, I don't know, just keep her contained. That way she doesn't end up having babies out there in the field. It is pretty cold today still. They're here. Let's get everybody else settled in. Hey, hound dog. He's pulling really hard on that leash, but it ain't for the chickens. It's because he knows it's breakfast time. Oh, goodness gracious. This dog is like a daggum horse. It is late afternoon now. We're pretty sure that Juniper just fooled us. So, I don't know. False alarm, whatever you want to call it. I don't think they're happening now. It might not happen tonight. She's given no signs at all at this point that she is ready to go. So, having that in mind, we're going to continue on doing what we were planning on doing all along, which is work these goats. And for us, that means vaccinations, making sure they're caught up to date on their copper boluses, since we have to supplement copper in our area. We have a copper deficient soil. Goats need a lot of copper. We have to add copper bolus to their diet. This little guy is going to get a new toy down here because while the other two, the big two children, are basically feral and they can take care of themselves for the most part out here, this one requires a lot of extra supervision. Got something fun for him. It's going to make it a lot easier for Mama whenever she's down here working on these goats.
Did you just call our youngest son, our oldest two, feral?
It's kind of right.
Did you call
Some people say free-range kids. Feral is basically...
You called our older two kids feral. On video. That's good.
Should I not?
No, it's fine. It's just funny. You're not wrong. It's just funny.
They're wonderful children. I mean, they're wonderful children, but they're smacking dirt with a stick. Like, it's the same thing I did. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it's wrong. We're using salvaged bolts for this. You know, we don't ever like to buy anything if we can avoid it. So these are way too long, and I'm having to use a wrench instead of using an impact or something to drive these in. And of course they're lock nuts, so they won't back out, but I also can't thread them on by hand because they're just more annoying than they ought to be. So just do your best with what you got, but oh goodness, sometimes it bites you in the butt. Of course, there's always the thought, you know, you can take a hook or something, hook it on the backside, and chuck the other end of that up in your drill and just thread it on that way. But I don't have a hook that I could do that with. That would definitely be the superior way to do this in this instance. Again, just doing our best here. Here we go. Look at that! What do you think? Woohoo! You got a milking buddy.
This is only for emergency milkings. Milk stand time is my time. No children allowed.
Yeah, well, that's a wonderful sentiment, but you know it doesn't always work out that way.
It doesn't, but I try to keep it as my time.
And you should. You should have that time to yourself if you want to. If that's what you want, that should be your time. But this is a nice way for those times when mornings are not perfect. You got it under control. You got it under control, honey.
This thing is a lifesaver. So I did 4 gram boluses this time. In the past I've done 2, and it actually the bolus gun fits. So you put the pill in there, and then you can just put this in their throat part of the way, and when you push it, it makes them swallow it. Big difference. Because with those copper boluses, you don't really want them to chew them, because you want that capsule to get down into their stomach. And as their body needs that copper that's sitting in their stomach, it'll absorb it as it needs it. very confused.
Look at that baby, though. Hey, Junior, what are you doing, Mama?
Baby's good and active, though.
Good.
I'm not cleaning her as much as I'd like, but she's a first freshener, so. And we have a couple spots.
All right.
You want to know the best spot part? It's a girl.
Oh.
I'm a girl. I'm a little girl. I'm a little girl. I really want to completely dry her off, but I also want June to clean her off because that's a good bonding experience, so that's why I'm struggling right now. It's like I really want to get her, but she's under the heat lamp already.
I have no idea what the actual temperature is. I rolled out of bed and got down here. We both did, so it's not like we were carefully monitoring the situation. But it's cold, and Megan is not intervening with the baby's cleaning off because we want that moment for Juniper. We want her to have that experience so she can bond with her baby. It does kind of look like she's done after one. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to finish playing out, but that's what it sure looks like at the moment. But it is important to get the baby dried off, and so that's why Megan had the towel and was helping clean off, had a hairdryer, was helping dry the baby off. It's not like we're trying to assume the role of mother, but it is important that that baby's dry because it's very cold, even with the heat lamp, and you know, it's important to get the baby dried off for the health of the baby. But we're not intervening a whole lot as another goat climbs me here.
Mini Pearl.
Saw in my pocket there, I have a jug of molasses. We like to, after our dough's freshen, spritz a little bit of molasses in some warm water. It helps the doughs, encourages them to drink, kind of sweetens that water up, encourages them to drink and replenish some of that water that they've lost. Give them a jump start a little bit on their milk production. As long as they're making, taking in plenty of water, that's the important thing. And I'm trying to stand back a little bit because Juniper's up there doing her thing. Megan is kind of hanging a little bit back, just monitoring everything. But Juniper's a little bit skittish of the camera when I'm holding it. So I don't need to be up there getting a camera right in her face. She needs to focus on her baby, and we'll get you in there. Don't worry.
So Juniper was bred here on the farm, so her dad is our buck. So we had to send her to get bred, and we took her over to Sage and Stone Homestead to be bred by their buck Havoc, and Havoc did us good. He gave us spots. Not a lot of spots, but there's spots. Yeah. She's got more spots than I thought. She's got one over here on her jaw, too. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, I'd miss baby goats. So glad to have one back. Baby's dried off. Juniper's doing a good job licking her, finishing licking her off and talking to her. We've seen her nurse a little bit, not as much as I'd like, but I think I need to just let nature do its thing and let them figure it out together. So we've got the heat lamp on, we gave them some fresh straw, and we'll check back with them in the morning. Well, guys, we are about 14, 15? Somewhere in there. We're not quite 24 hours post-birth. But Mama and baby are both doing great. I came down here several times today, seen the baby nurse really well on her own. Like, didn't have to help her find anything, so that's great. June is up and alert. When I checked her at 6 o'clock this morning before Reagan left for work, she had passed her placenta. I left it in the stall with her, so hopefully she would eat it because it's very beneficial for them to eat them, and she did, so that's great. Baby is very alert. Mama's very attentive. We're going to weigh her here in a few minutes we like weighing them just for one. When it's our buck, we can track his average of weight. So far, his average is under 3 pounds. I don't think Heather tracks her baby's weights, but we like having it because it's also a way to make sure they're growing good and they're eating enough, which I can feel of her belly, and her belly's nice and full of colostrum, which is what you want. I'm also very excited she had a single for her first. I've only had one first freshener, and that was her mom. And I think I like them having one first, like, because it's so much less stress on them and me, and less chances for bottle babies. Ow! That hurt. That hurt. Now you got a good picture of her. Havoc did us good. He gave us several moon spots on this little girl. And she is all legs and ears, and she is so gorgeous. What? Do I have your baby? Do I have your baby? So she is 4 pounds.
4.5 pounds.
4.5 pounds. There we go. So she's a little bigger than what Benji usually throws, but Benji's a little Nigerian. Juniper here is also 50% like a full-size goat. Now, this one is 75% Nigerian dwarf, 12.5% Kinko, 12.5% Savannah.
Nice math. Good job.
But she is precious and doing good. Mama's obsessed. Mama doesn't really like Reagan holding the baby, but that's fine. It means I get all the baby goat cuddles. We're going to get Juniper some chaff hay down here. We like using the chaff hay, especially for nursing mamas when they're first kid, because it's a little less energy. You know, it's already starting to it's already fermented, so it's a little easier on their gut. So it also helps their milk supply, and we want them to focus on recovery and stuff like that. She'll also have access to regular hay all the time. We'll get her some grain just to make sure she doesn't miss any calories trying to take care of her baby. But she's looking good. She's nursing. I milked out a little colostrum earlier just to make sure she had some and was doing good on that. And she was. Oh, you see the camera now? Oh, you hear. Do you still hear Reagan? I find it funny because I'm sitting down here with her holding the baby and she doesn't care. You walk in here and she's like, I don't know about you.
I know.
So we have two kid this year, and then we'll have some more at the first of the next year. But the next two are going to be Minnie Pearl and Calamity Jane, and they are due the end of December. So early as Christmas, late as New Year's Day. Fingers crossed for somewhere in the middle. And if you want to see any more of our baby goats, you can click on this playlist with all the baby goat hops. And if you want to see more birth videos, be sure to subscribe, because how do you not want to see more of these little faces? We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.